This thing, for $500, you cannot beat this camera. How's it going, everyone? My name is Colin Ross, as some of you know. We're in lovely Santa Monica, California today, comparing two amazing cameras. We have the Blackmagic Ursa Mini 4.6K, which is around $5,000 body only, and then we have the Panasonic G7 here, which is $500 body only. Obviously a huge price difference there, and a lot of people are probably wondering, you know, why are you comparing two highly different cameras? And I want to acknowledge that I know that the Ursa Mini isn't just known for its image quality. I mean, that is the main feature, but it also has a lot to do with the audio inputs and all the professional features that come with such a camera. But today I'm mainly going to be comparing the image quality of the two and how they stack up next to each other, and we're going to see if this $5,000 price tag is really worth it when it comes to image quality. Let's get to shooting.
I just wanna stay in the sun where I find. I know it's hard sometimes. Pieces of peace in the sun's peace of mind. I know it's hard sometimes. Yeah, I think about the end just way too much. But it's fun to fantasize.
All right, we're back at my little mobile editing setup right here. We got the clips loaded in Adobe Premiere. My initial thoughts when I'm looking back at these clips is, obviously the Ursa has a lot more detail than the Panasonic G7, but it's not as big of a difference as you might think initially. So I was filming this around 1 p.m. when some of the harshest light occurs from the sun, and because I really wanted to stress the dynamic range of, you know, like the blue sky, and the G7 is holding up remarkably well for its price point. Here's the first shot here. So as you can see here, there's a lot more detail in the wording on the center of the sign right here. I meticulously checked the focus on both the Ursa Mini and the Panasonic G7 because I shot some stuff last night and I blew the focus on the G7 like an idiot. I haven't used it in a while. But the Ursa kind of makes the G7 look out of focus in this shot. And where the G7 does struggle in this shot like this from the distance on the pier is if you flip back and forth, you can see that is when stuff is really far in the distance, it has trouble picking up that detail. Like on this Ursa shot, just look at the detail right there. And then, you know, you go over to the G7, and while still a great shot, the detail isn't quite all there. And here's another shot of the pier. This is a famous pier burger on Santa Monica Pier. If you haven't been, highly recommend. So here, God, I just thought I was looking at the Ursa shot, and it's the G7. That's how close it is when, especially if you're not full screen. I have a 4K monitor right here. If you're not full screen 4K, especially after YouTube compression, it's really damn hard to see which camera is which. I'm gonna do my best to color match all the footage and, you know, try to make it look the same. I forgot to mention, but both cameras were shooting at 4K 24. We were using Sigma optics on the Ursa and Olympus optics on the G7. And a lot of people might not think that's fair. The Olympus lens that Max has is one of the sharpest lenses you can buy for the Micro Four Thirds format, and the Sigma is one of the sharpest for, you know, just any format. So I wanted to get some good optical quality on these cameras, so, you know, one didn't have the kit lens and the other had, you know, a Sigma lens. So I tried to match the optical quality. While it isn't the same glass, the optical quality of the glass is around the same. And like I kind of said, at face value, the cameras are looking very, very similar. One of the things, especially in closer up, but as I pointed out, the further away details, the people right here, I'll crop in maybe like 400 or 500%. The people are a lot mushier on the G7 than the Ursa Mini, and I mean, that's to be expected. I filmed in ProRes HQ, and a lot of people are probably gonna shun me, why didn't you film RAW? And don't get me wrong, I like RAW, but the file space versus the time saved just editing ProRes is a no-brainer in my book. I rarely use RAW when I film with my Ursa Mini. The ProRes looks so good. So that's my reasoning behind that. The G7 is still just chugging away here. And on this, see, I have no idea which one I'm looking at. Oh, that was the Ursa, yeah, I do. You can obviously see the difference between the Ursa clips and the G7 clips. I think the G7 with, in the Cine D mode has around 10, 11 stops maybe, and the Ursa has 14 to 15. Well, 15, but I think it's more of a usable 14 stops dynamic range. And you can definitely see those, but I mean, God, this camera, the G7, for being $500, this thing is an absolute beast. This is another test I wanted to put it through, is kind of a moire test. The G7 is pretty good from away. The Ursa is obviously amazing. I wanted to test these nets on the basketball court from far away. Oh man. So that's just where the Ursa's detail. But then again, it's like you're paying $5,000 for it. Is that alone enough? And people are probably gonna give me hate. Like, I do respect all the professional, like this isn't a prosumer camera, I know that, but I'm just strictly comparing image quality right now. Like, I know that, you know, the G7 doesn't have XLR I keep looking for the G7, it's right here. Like, I understand that the G7 doesn't have XLR capabilities, any real audio, besides just, you know, your 3.5mm jack, doesn't shoot RAW, all those things. I understand that this camera is just such a different camera than this, but like I said, this is strictly based on the quality of it and not any of like the functionality, like the 5-inch display, the buttons, the screen, the CFast, the ProRes, the sensor size. It's all I'm coming down to right now is image quality, which I guess that is too. I do want to note that too, that I understand that the sensor size is obviously different on the G7 than on the Ursa Mini. You got the Super 35 versus Micro Four Thirds. But during the day, can you really tell? This is a shot I also wanted to show. Where the hell is it? This is kind of what I'm talking about with the further away detail. I wanted to get a wide shot of the beach so that you can see all the tiny people playing, which was actually a pretty busy day for being a Monday. I guess it is summer, I'm an idiot. Anyways, as you can see, the detail on the Ursa when cropped, again, it's pixel peeping, and I don't like the pixel peep because to me, if it looks good when you're just watching it, who cares? But there are a lot of people that, you know, like to get into the technical pixel peeping of things. And when you do pixel peep, the Ursa does kind of blow away the G7. But I mean, if you don't pixel peep and you're just watching it on your phone or anything for YouTube, it's like, who can tell a difference? I also want to do more of low light tests because I didn't want to just do one lighting setup. So this was filmed around 8 p.m. The sun had just gone down. I was at ISO 400 on both cameras, 3.5 aperture on both cameras. And God, the G7 is still holding up strong. So if you're using your camera mainly for YouTube purposes, I would definitely go with the G7, but this is one of the most separating things between the Ursa Mini and the G7, and that is different lighting, not different lighting, but mixed lighting conditions. Okay, ignore the fact that I was slightly out of focus. We had already finished and I was just kind of walking back with Max. So ignore the sharpness in this test. But look at the difference between these two clips. This is kind of where the Ursa kicks the G7's butt. And one of the main reasons that I have it is in mixed lighting conditions and with skin tones, this camera just knocks the sauce up. Completely knocks the socks off of the G7. Look at this clip right here. So again, like I said, ignore the sharpness. So look at Max's skin tones. This is the G7 clip right here. And now look at it in the Ursa. It just, like, that is exactly what I saw in real life. And the G7 isn't bad at doing that during the day, but at night, when you have to push to like upper ISOs, this is on ISO 800 on both cameras, and the Ursa is clean as, holy, this looks so beautiful. You know, the lights in the background and what it, like, that just looks how it looked in real life. And then when you go to the G7, it just kind of looks orangey. And even when you push the grade, you can't really bring anything out. And like I said, I blew focus, ignore that, I'm embarrassed. I don't even know why I'm showing this. And those mixed lighting conditions and with skin tones, the Ursa just tosses this thing out the window. I guess in conclusion, it kind of depends on what your end use is, what you want to get out of the camera. Obviously the Ursa is more designed for feature films and short films, and this is more of a prosumer camera. You know, if you're doing a lot of short films, if you're doing a lot of narrative content, like, go ahead, get this, and you will not be disappointed in the least with the image quality of this. Granted, your wallet might hurt after, it's $5,000 for the body only. This camera is only $500. I know I shouldn't really say only because that's still a decent chunk of change, but for what you're getting and the fact that you can even get somewhat close to this camera is phenomenal. So if you're starting out, if you're a beginner, and I always hear the excuse, not the excuse, but I always get asked, you know, what camera do you film on? Like, your shots look so cinematic, like how can I make mine look cinematic? It honestly comes down to how much you want to work at refining your skills and learning better framing and going out there and just filming until your fingers fall off, until you're sunburned. I probably look sunburned right now because it was 95 degrees out there today. It's a little cooler now. Like everything, it comes down to how much work you want to put into getting better. You won't be able to separate yourself from the rest of the pack unless you learn, you know, good framing, lighting, all the above. And all that should only supplement a good story. Otherwise, you're gonna be just like everyone else on YouTube. And that's what I've been trying to do. Like I kind of talked about, I've been trying to get better at telling stories with my videos. Otherwise, the camera quality means nothing. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video of the $500 G7 versus the $5,000 Ursa Mini. As always, subscribe if you like the content. If you want to help support this channel, there are Amazon affiliate links in the description to buy both the Ursa Mini and the Panasonic G7. That helps keep this channel self-sustaining, and I get a small revenue cut if you buy it through my Amazon link. So if you want to do that, feel free. No hate if you don't. It doesn't cost you any extra money. Like always, remember, every day counts, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, bye. Peace, peace.